Up next for West Ham is Manchester City. Our most recent form leaves a lot to be desired. We had in our last 8 games we have won one, lost six and drew one. We have scored 6 goals and conceded 24 goals, which does not read well. Still, champions of England come to the Olympic Stadium. Tell me your thoughts.
Oh, well, it's going to be the easiest game yet so far, isn't it, for
Yeah,
us?
exactly. 3 points. Woohoo!
Yeah, 3 points in the bag, and there you go. Pellegrini's revenge against Man City. I don't think there's anything to worry about, apart from the fact that we're playing the best team in the land, probably going to be the best team in Europe at some stage soon. It's going to be a tall order, isn't it? But I think we've got nothing to fear. Yeah, we've played it. We tried to play against them in a defensive way, and that didn't work out. So why don't we just go for it and see what happens?
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at their goal difference just now still. I mean, 31, I mean, they're head and shoulders above even the free-flowing Liverpool goal scorers that are there. I was Pellegrini's, Guardiola's biggest critic in a way because I always assumed he just gained a squad and he never really had to do much work. But I think he's proven the work he is doing with Manchester City. Yeah, they've got money, but there's still a lot of work there to be done. Um, some positive news, whether or not depending on what kind of West Ham fan you are, whether you take the news that Andy Carroll's back from injury, hopefully back longer than a week. And the rumour is that Jack Wilshere could be back as well in the squad. What impact does that have to our squad still? And if it does have any impact, I mean, how's Pellegrini potentially going to use these two lads if they are fit in the squad?
Um, well, I think I'm not a great fan of Andy Carroll, merely because of the fact that he's been virtually non-existent for us over the years that he's been at West Ham.
Yep.
I kind of get what people say about him. When he's on form, when he's fit, he's unplayable. He's an excellent addition, etc. But I kind of wish that we were at the stage where we were past needing to rely on Andy Carroll for anything. But we seem not to be. We've got Perez, who's not really given at West Ham anything. We've got Hernandez, who's been a bit hot and cold. Coming back late. Not being ready after the World Cup, having an illness that lasted a month. He's been in and out of the team. And then, of course, we got Arnautovic and all the rumours surrounding him. So here we are, yet again, having to rely on someone like Andy Carroll. And I just kind of feel it's a bit of a shame. We've spent £100 million and we're still relying on a player that is so injury prone. And I know all the, what people say that, it's not his fault that he keeps getting injured, but I just wish we didn't have to be in this position.
Yeah,
But
it's really.
I get what people say, that he'll add a different dimension to the team if he's available.
I think that we're going to have to take a positive from it, and the positive is that having him coming off the bench if he is fit is going to cause defenses problems, and if that's what he's going to get used for until potentially we sell him, because there's no ifs or buts about it, we're not going to be pay this guy and then not give him game time. And because we're going to give him game time, if we want to sell him, he's going to have to play and show to teams that he can stay fit. But then it's a risk we run that if he does get back in the team, the typical Andy Carroll style, he could get injured and we might not get a transfer fee if he does take the option
Well,
to.
the only thing is we're only going to be able to sell him in January because he's a free agent. His contract expires in the
Yeah.
summer. And I
So you
know
want to
there's talk
recoup some of the
about
money kicking in.
we do,
But yeah.
but I can't actually see us selling him in January. To be quite honest with you, I think unless we sell him to some American team, in the
And
MLS,
or we
I'd,
have someone in the backup plan. I mean, players we've been rumoured with in the past, Zeko,
yeah.
whether or not he come. But I mean, personally, I would like to see him. But anyway, I think it's always good when we've got players back in and around the squad. That puts pressure on the current strikers, and also having Wilshere back. We're struggling in the midfield, and we do need players there to come up behind them and let them know, do you know what, you're not just always in that position. We know what Wilshere's capable of. We all know what Wilshere's capable of, but it's a similar story to the Andy Carroll situation. Just
Hmm.
need to make sure he does get fit. Still, before we
Yeah.
carry on, have Have you signed up and got yourself a new Claret membership, which has been reduced by 75%, added £1 and got yourself onto the waiting list for a new season ticket?
Yeah.
Because as all you fans know, we have increased our capacity to 60,000 stroke 66,000.
Yeah.
And
absolutely no need for me to do that, because I'm a season ticket holder for my sins. But I reckon I just tweeted Mr. David Gold and asked him why he doesn't just scrap the £10 waiting list fee. You know, if he really wants to get more bums on seats and fill those extra few thousand seats that we now have available, what better encouragement than to have him scrap the waiting list fee and start, getting those bums on seats.
It does worry me slightly, though, that they keep advertising these Claret memberships to get people on the waiting list. Yeah, it's marketing. Yeah, it's to maybe get more names on it. But, I want to see this. The biggest thing that stood out for me from the email that was sent from the club to all the people in the emails was the £1 to join the waiting list. I mean,
there shouldn't be a fee. Simple as that.
But you pay £1 to buy a can of juice or whatever. I mean, people are going to sign up to that. Is that realistically going to turn into bums on seats?
The trouble with the waiting list is they couldn't tell you where you are on the waiting list if you're on it already. That's the problem. And how many
times you're on it? You are on it.
And how many times you are on it, and how come? You hear stories about people being on the waiting list, and then some other people who aren't phoning the club and saying, I want a season ticket, and they're getting that over the people on the waiting list. Yeah. It's a bit of a farce, So what they're just charging people for nothing. It doesn't matter whether it's £1, £10, whatever it may be. They're charging people for something that actually isn't working. Yeah. And I'm all for the stadium being, the capacity being expanded if we were going to get an extra several thousand West Ham fans. But the problem is, let's be realistic. We're only getting a hardcore of 45, 46, 47,000 West Ham fans, and the rest are neutrals. And
come and see a Premier League football match. Yeah,
come and see a Premier League football match, and that dilutes the atmosphere.
Absolutely.
So it's wonderful for the owners because they're going to get a few more bucks in their pockets. Yeah,
but I'm not for the waiting list. It's just
absolutely. But I'm not so sure about how it's going to add to the environment. If you have about 20,000 people that are there that aren't for West Ham, what sort of atmosphere is that going to create? But anyway.
Yeah, well, we are here.
That's for another.
That was for another show. I had to bring it up though. It's very current and and recent. Manchester City. Do we really need to go into depth about them? What do we fear most about them? I mean,
where do I start, mate?
You've got some stats. Go for it. Read them
I've got some stats. Right. Goal scorers: Aguero on 8, Sterling on 6, Mahrez on 4, Sane, Bernardo Silva on 3. Aguero's assisted 4. Mendy's assisted 5. Bernardo Silva and Sane have assisted 3. I mean, it doesn't matter who they pick. Yeah, it doesn't matter who they pick. They've got goals. They've had 246 shots, of which 94 have been on target, of which 36 have been scored. I mean, for God's sake, they are a machine,
But still, I tell you what, right? And we spoke about this. We have conceded a lot, and we are conceding against lower teams even now. And we've got more confidence in our defence than we've had over the last 5-6 years with the current goalkeeper, the two centre halves. Zabaleta's kind of finding his form again. Still undecided about the left back position, but the biggest thing here is this is we've got the running of games we've got in 2018. Leaves us licking our lips. I've said it before, and this is the kind of gate. The big wall up in front of West Ham right now. What a game to go into and prove to Pellegrini and to the West Ham fans that we can stop the champions of England, who are free scoring here, there and everywhere, contributing throughout the team. It's very typical West Ham that we could step up to the plate against Man City and get a result and then lose the next 7. It's very typical West Ham.
It's what I said when we started off. I don't think we've got anything to fear. We know they're a great team. We know that they're going to be attacking us from all angles. Let's go for it. Let's attack them as well, and let's put them to the test. And let's see. I mean, they've had 7 clean sheets so far this season, so that's no mean feat. But we do have players that can hurt the opposition. I mean, I know it's not the same level, but when we played against Burnley, There was never a time, even when it was 2-2 and they hit the bar and all that sort of stuff, there was never a time when we felt that we weren't going to win that game.
Absolutely.
And I know Man City is a completely different kettle of fish, but if we go out with the same level of thinking, the same attitude, like let's just go for it, let's put them to the test, who knows what could happen?
Yeah.
Because this is a game where, if we're going to lose 5-0 trying to defend, we might as well lose 7-2 trying to attack. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's no harm in us really going for it this Saturday. We've got nothing to lose. Absolutely nothing to lose.
Because we've seen teams step up against Manchester City, trying all different forms of tactics, and still get defeated by
exactly
5-goal deficit. So West Ham, like you said, still, and I'm properly on the belief that we do need to set up and just go, do you know what, let's attack them. But though I suppose there's one benefit is Pellegrini. Whether or not the team has changed since there, he's been in there. He knows the way that Man City are. He knows the money that's been involved. He knows the setup. Does that play anything into it at all? Does he, or is it just the Guardiola effect, or is it the Man City as a whole? Will Pellegrini's knowledge of what's going on in behind the scenes play an advantage to West Ham?
It has to be. I mean, he's going to know some of those players. He's managed some of those players, so he's going to know clearly we all know what their strengths are, but he's going to be better positioned to know what their weaknesses are. So there's no reason why he can't look to exploit those, and there might be a little niche there that he'll be able to sort of instill into the team and say, look, this is the way we play it, and this is what they might not be able to cope with.
Yeah.
So there's no I think it will have some effect. It's got to, because he knows a lot of the players that are currently there.
Yeah. One positive coming out of Man City, it's not good to always talk about someone's injury, but Bernardo Silva looks like he's going to miss the game for Manchester City, so that's a reasonable positive. But you just got to look at Man City's squad. You've just got to look at the squad. Just let's bring in Sané or Sterling,
Mahrez, Sané, Sterling. Yeah.
Well, we've got to take some form of positive to think, But anyway, let's talk about West Ham. What's Pellegrini going to do? How's he going to set up? Is he going to make any changes?
Well, you mentioned the two players that are back from injury, and there's also Noble back from suspension. I'm really wondering what he will do, to be honest with you, because what I'd like to see is sticking with the same lineup that started the last couple of games.
Yeah.
But I've got to. If Wiltshire won't start and Carroll won't start, but there's a possibility that he'll bring Noble back in. But if he brings Noble back in, what's that going to happen? He'll probably drop Diangana. And what we've just been talking about with regards to sort of going out to attack them, we'll lose a bit of that with Noble back in. And I just wonder what Pellegrini will do. I think there's a number of players. It's a given, the goalkeeper, Zabaleta, Diop, Balbuena, and I think Creswell will get the nod at the back.
Yeah, I do as well.
I think Arnautovic and Anderson are definites. And then Rice, of course, but it just depends on what he's going to do in midfield.
I'm kind of in agreement with you. I don't think he is going to change much for this game. I think he is going to probably set up the way he started every one of the last three games. Because when you look at the last three Premier League games, taking away the cup, we're actually undefeated in 3, albeit 2 draws, 1 win. So there's positives there. And we would have taken that probably. We would have taken that, at the start of those 3 games, coming in off the defeat against Tottenham. So, we like you said, we've got nothing to lose. Let's start with the same thing. My biggest issue, and it's not a biggest issue against teams like Man City, because obviously they're free-flowing football. All their players find the space. They all contribute to assists and goals. So we need to absolutely ram that midfield and try and stop the play coming in from there. But we also need to go on the counter-attack as much as we possibly can. But should things not be working out for West Ham, I do want to see the changes made early doors, because I've seen the positives from those changes and the dynamics of how the team set up and providing that support to players like Arnautovic and Anderson.
In all due respect to Pellegrini, I think he started to do that. I think he started to bring players on, with still half an hour to go, 25, 30 minutes, something like that to go. I think whereas the likes of Moyes, he used to bring players on in the last 10 minutes.
We're just waiting so late. Like
too late.
Like 1 minute to go and we're down 2-1, and you're just thinking, come on, make that change sooner rather than later.
Yeah.
So
whereas I think Pellegrini will do just that. If he sees the game or if he can identify, we talked about Carroll. If he can identify Carroll coming in, with 25 minutes to go to have an impact up front, I think he'll do that. I think he'll definitely do that.
I personally think that we will see Carroll, but I don't think we'll see him for 25 minutes. I think we'll see him really, really close to the end. He'll probably get
Maybe,
kind of 5-10 minute run out. I think the one player we are going to see, and it's controversial, some fans are for him, some fans aren't against him, but we've seen him getting used, and he is getting used, and it's Hernandez. He is getting used as a sub just now, and he's making a bit of a difference when he's coming on, especially in the last 3 games. Maybe that's just down to the formation change that happens at half time. But I think that, these are the sort of games that Hernandez wants to be playing in. This is the sort of games that if things aren't going fantastic for West Ham, he offers a new dynamic to it. But yeah, I suppose we'll wait and see. Anything else on Man City still?
Man City, no. I mean, you've said it. There's we've got so much to worry about that we just shouldn't worry. Really, we should just let it be. And just concentrate on our own game and not worry about them. There's too many dangerous players for us to worry about. Pellegrini, I think, will probably tell his team, just go out and play your game and don't worry about Man City. I know that sounds a bit bizarre, but you know what I mean by that. Yeah,
absolutely. Still, if you had to go for your predictions, this is going to be a short and sweet preview anyway, guys. Let's go for it. But do you know what? Still, I'm gonna try and persuade you. Think about what you said at the start. We need to go for it. Let's be positive. If there's a time, if there's a place that West Ham needed a result to kickstart their season, this could be that game. This
4-3 West Ham.
Game. Oh, love it. Wow. I mean, we're going to concede.
Oh yeah, and we'll concede at least 3. So we might as well beat them by 4.
Yeah. I love that. I absolutely love that. And do you know what the funny thing is? I'm going to go for a 1-0 win to West Ham. So
you just told me to get myself out there, and you've gone for a 1-0.
I'm going to contradict everything I've just said there. So I'm just going to go for a 1-0 victory to West Ham, and we're just going to not shut up shop, but we're going to show up. We're going to absolutely show up, and this is going to give the confidence and boost to West Ham that we need so desperately. Because I tell you what, still looking at the next games after that, left in 2018, what a confidence booster that
we haven't done too bad, mate. I mean, all right, Huddersfield was probably there for the taking, and we didn't sort of show up for the whole game. But yeah, I mean, we beat Burnley convincingly. We did all right against Huddersfield. We could have done better, but you're absolutely right. Our last 3 games we haven't actually lost, so there's no
Well, we said to you it was going to be short and sweet, and that has been our West Ham Man City preview. If you have, please do me a favour though, get your comments in below. Do you agree with what we've said? Do you agree with the fact that I personally think that Andy Carroll is going to be used as an impact sub? Do you agree with my opinion that I'd like to see Hernandez a lot earlier in the game? Do you agree with Stell's opinion that we're going to maybe shut up shop, or we've got nothing to lose, set up as if we've got nothing to lose? Make sure you get your comments in below, because it's really good to see what all you West Ham fans who watch our videos have an opinion, and if you agree with what we say, or we're talking a whole lot of balls. That's been our preview. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you go and follow all our partners at the Supporters Club, Special Supporters Club at West Ham. It's a great day out with many West Ham fans from all different backgrounds. Fantastic. Of course, our partners at Umbro and the Ribman of London. Make sure you go and support him on Twitter on his current issues he's got at the stadium. So fingers crossed, West Ham. Just get behind the side, just get singing bubbles, be loud and proud. He's been Stel, I've been Anton, we're Irons United. Come on,